Good morning, UPBOptionMillionaires.com. An hour before the opening bell here on this September 11, 2018. It's a Tuesday. Futures are lower, down over a third of a percent. Yeah, overnight, futures were actually higher. And then some more of this trade trauma, tariff nonsense with China. We get another headline, and the market pulls back here. And you can see we're down near the lows after the move. I think we're going to bounce. I think it's just another buy the dip opportunity. Look at yesterday's session. What a grind. What a meat grinder of a day. We started out higher, sold off, and then we just chopped around pretty much for the entire session, which is kind of what we've been doing since we hit our record highs at the end of August. The market has been grinding, consolidating, in my opinion. And if you look, yesterday was the first positive day of September. Pretty amazing if you think about it. But if you look going back to the lows in the beginning of 2016, the S&P 500 on a monthly time frame has rarely posted a negative month. So right now we're off to a negative start, but guess what? I think it's going to reverse. Had positive and new all-time record highs this month again. If you look from just a longer-term time frame over the last year, you can see that you draw a trend line across, and this is the resistance we hit. We pulled back, and each of these pullbacks have been bought along the way, and I think this one will be no different. And actually, if you think that the trade trauma tariff headline stuff, this one's probably the least reacted to. We're down just a third of a percent, and you're going to get the tweets later in the day today when the market's higher. Be like, oh my, well, what's going on? How many times have we seen this? It's like the same thing over and over again, deja vu all over again. You can look at the VIX. Point this out, we're in a nice wedge here, and if you look, hit resistance recently just above the 15 level, and then we're to pull back into the 10s. You look, I wrote a post at optionmillionaires.com about a move into the fall and November back down to the 10 level, which implies higher stock prices. Let's look over some charts. Again, GameStop, I wrote about it. You can see it's a long-term 20-year chart, and it came down to that 20-year support level, an area that it's bounced off of previously. Look back in 2006. It started up, went to 47.50. 2012 went up to about 45 and change. And here we are. We've been bleeding down ever since. But if you look, when GameStop was a $45 stock back in 2014, it had less revenue and 120 million outstanding shares. Down here at the lows, it's got more revenue and 100 million shares. So all that revenue is being based upon almost $90 a share in revenue. And guess what? Was not a 10% dividend yield here. Here we are, 10% dividend yield, 300 million free cash flow. We have two private equity firms bidding up the stock according to rumors, and I think it's going to result in a buyout. At the summer when I got the long-term calls, I was looking at the stock for more of an appreciation off the support level, less of a buyout opportunity. Although back in June, that's when the rumors started. Actually, even you can go earlier than that, but for the most part, the substantial, the rumors about Sycamore. If you look them up, this is, compared to the companies that they bought out, the retail, this is a great company, GME. It's not heading down the toilet as much as everyone likes to say. It's the next Circuit City or Blockbuster. They're actually doing pretty well. If you look at their earnings report, maintain their dividend, maintain their guidance for the year. So anyway, GameStop looking for a move higher. I think the buyout's going to come. That's just my opinion. It's high risk, but it's could be terribly rewarding. The $17 calls for October is something like 45 cents. You can go out even further than that, but I think it's going to come within the next, 3 or 4 weeks at the most, which would put those October calls still well within the range to capitalize on a potential buyout. Overstock, look at the decline it's seen really after its earnings report. Now we can see the breakout to start. Guess when the breakout started? In the fall of last year. We had a really sharp breakout. And then especially the downside action after its earnings report. Look at this. We had to move up to almost 50. Been selling off ever since. And then after the bell yesterday, CEO files that he sold a lot of shares, 10% of his shares, and wrote a nice little letter to shareholders of why. So if you want to believe him, this may be a good buy point. You can see the weakness we had amid the selling, hitting lows that we haven't seen since last year. And look, right around this time last year is when the rally started. So something to keep an eye on. Possibly the sales ending now would be, a reason why we might not see that the downside pressure we've seen since the earnings report. The shorts have 50% of the float borrowed and sold short. How much more can this be shorted and sold off? So we'll see if we get a turnaround here in Overstock. You look at this pre-market, despite the insider sales, the stock's kind of hanging in there. So maybe a good sign. Moss continue to be in the December $34 calls. You can see the breakout it's had. I love this stock for a move up in late 2018 and then into 2019. I think it's going to have over 40, 45, especially if we start to see that inflation theme grow. Vitamin Shop, it's amazing. You go to StockTwits, everybody likes to short this stock. They just can't understand why it's rallying. But the chart is telling the entire story. One that I've been telling for quite a while. It's a turnaround story. And so you can look at this $65 stock, very similar to GME, where lots of outstanding shares here, not a lot of revenue. Guess what? Down at its close, even before it broke out, it had more revenue, and its outstanding shares had shrunk almost 20% than it did back when it was up at a $65 stock in 2013. You see the turnaround. I think the next earnings report, or even before then, is going to be a trigger up to this about 16.50, 17.50, and an 18 level breakthrough, and ultimately up to $20 a share. And then we'll go from there. But I still got some of the November 750 calls. Vitamin Shop, what a move it's had in the summer, and then I think heading into the fall of 2018, I think it's going to continue to the upside. TXMD, another CEO selling shares, and you look at TXMD, I go to the 20-year chart. This is before its reverse merger here into the corporation that is now. And if you look from a chart perspective, held support, I think it's going to go up to the 750 level, ultimately break out. But an insider sale, you can look at the action yesterday, pretty nasty. We were down over 3%, and then we reversed course. And you can see we're up 10 trading sessions in a row. We pulled back. We looked like we were going to pull up. We got 3%. We reversed. So I think despite the over $1 million worth of stock that was revealed sold by the CEO via a trading plan, so it wasn't like he just went in there and said, oh, the decision at the end of October is going to be negative, which is what the bears want to say. Well, it was just part of a trading plan. And I think ultimately it's going to get shrugged off, and we're going to see it back. Another resumption of the move higher for TXMD. Again, 3 possible FDA approvals, products rolling out in the next year. Also there, Imvexxy has the lower dose launching this week. One-of-a-kind products in women's health, TXMD. And we have First Solar, which broke below sports. This is another stock I was watching this year to trade for upside, and look what's happened. So we can write this one off, just erase it for now. Perhaps it's going to stabilize down at the 45 level, but wrong. I was wrong on that one. And you know what? You just don't go back. Don't go back until we start to see the dust settle and possibly reverse. Some of the Chinese ADRs, again, if you look at a stock like NetEase, and it's like, oh, I want to buy the dip here. But look at NetEase from a long-term chart perspective here. You see it had a great move up. It broke through support. So, a lot of people look at this chart, they look at Vitamin Shop, and they're like, oh, it's time to go long. Here we go. But look at the trend. The trend is telling you all you need to know. You're either buying puts or shorting stock, or you're staying away. There's 6,000 other stocks out there. Why are you going to focus on this one? It moves, but guess what? When the dust settles, that'll be a good time possibly for a reversal till that happens. Same with BABA. Same kind of chart. You see it broke through support. If I can get the BABA chart up. There we go. Broke through support. Look how bearish that looks, right? So someone looks at this and oh my gosh, look at this. It's going to reverse. We know BABA's a $250 stock according to this analyst. Well, you know what? What's the point of going long here, trying to time a reversal that might not come? Whereas you can just wait for the bottom to come, the dust to settle, and maybe get some sort of a bottoming formation. I don't see one yet. On the flip side, if you want to trade for downside, puts probably the better play here. For BABA, the Chinese ADRs are just struggling. They're just circling down the toilet until we see some sort of resolution to this nonsense going on. A couple other charts to watch. I remain in the $11 calls for Switch. I think we're going to get a nice earnings gap fill. See this gap here we have from the earnings up to 14. You can see it's kind of taking a breather here, but I think it's going to head to the upside. Nice insider buy from a director. I believe it was 2 weeks ago. So, all right. I think that's it. We did see, despite yesterday's chop in the session, we had Roku breaking out to new all-time record highs. This is a stock that, nobody believed in. JB at Option Millionaires posted on the Option Millionaires Twitter handle. Nobody believes the stock, when it's down here when it first launched up, or here. Remember when it pulled back? Everyone was like, how's it up here? And how many headlines do we have? Oh, Best Buy is doing this product. That's going to affect Roku. Oh, Amazon's got a TV. It's going to do, and look at it. It's bucked every trend. And you can see the price actions doing all the talking. Same with a stock like W. Wayfair continues to break out new all-time record highs. The bears call it a $0 stock, and then when it goes to 20, it's a $10 stock. And when it goes to 40, they're like, well, it's going to go to 20. And here we are at $100 and almost $40 a share. I think the record high is 139 and changed. And so, it's a trend. And just like you have with the Vitamin Shop that continues to go to the upside, why are you fighting? You're either along with the trend or find something else to short. That's pretty, I mean, this has been, an act of futility trying to short this one. And then the higher it goes, the higher the short target goes. And so, anyway, all right, I'm off the soapbox. It's September 11th. It's about an hour before the opening bell. I'll see everyone in the chat room. Have a great trading day. Goodbye.